No one says it out loud, but almost everyone has felt it at some point. Before we go any further, if you're here for clarity instead of comfortable illusions, stay with the channel and make sure you're subscribed. The idea that female friendship doesn't exist sounds extreme, unfair, even offensive. But that's not why it spreads. It spreads because it touches something people have experienced but don't fully understand. Not the absence of friendship, but the instability of it. Because female friendship doesn't operate on the same rules people expect. It's not weaker. It's different. And misunderstanding that difference creates the illusion that it's fake. At the surface, female friendships look close, emotionally expressive, supportive, deep. They share details men rarely do. They connect quickly. They bond over vulnerability. But depth of expression is not the same as stability of attachment. That's where the confusion begins. Female friendships are often built on emotional alignment. Shared feelings, shared perspectives, shared experiences. When that alignment is strong, the bond feels intense, almost unbreakable. But alignment is dynamic. It shifts, and when it shifts, the relationship shifts with it. This is why female friendships can feel incredibly close one moment and distant the next. Not because they were fake, but because the foundation moved. Pause for a moment. Think about how often friendships change when life direction changes. New relationships, new priorities, new identities. When identity evolves, emotional alignment recalibrates. And when alignment recalibrates, proximity changes. This doesn't mean betrayal. It means adaptation. But adaptation doesn't always feel good. From the outside, it looks like inconsistency. From the inside, it feels like disconnection. This is where the myth begins. People interpret fluidity as lack of loyalty. But loyalty in female friendships is not always tied to permanence. It's tied to resonance. When resonance exists, connection is strong. When it fades, connection loosens. That's not weakness. That's a different system. Here's another layer people avoid talking about. Female friendships exist within a social environment that includes comparison. Not constant, not conscious, but present. Comparison of lifestyle, of attention, of relationships, of progress. This doesn't automatically create competition, but it introduces tension, because proximity increases visibility, and visibility invites evaluation. Now add emotional closeness to that. You don't just see each other's strengths. You see vulnerabilities, insecurities, unspoken desires. This level of awareness can deepen connection, but it can also create subtle imbalance. If one person evolves faster, receives more attention, or shifts identity, the dynamic changes, not always through conflict, sometimes through distance. Another pause. This is where many people misinterpret what's happening. They expect friendships to remain static while individuals evolve. But evolution changes compatibility, and compatibility determines closeness. So when someone pulls back, it's often not rejection. It's realignment. But realignment feels like loss, and loss gets labeled as betrayal. Here's the expectation-breaking truth. Female friendship doesn't disappear because it wasn't real. It changes because it was real within a specific version of both people. When those versions change, the connection has to adapt or dissolve. That's not fake. That's contextual. Now let's talk about emotional processing. Women tend to process emotions relationally. They talk, share, reflect. This creates fast bonding. But fast bonding can create fast disillusionment too, because expectations rise quickly. And when expectations rise faster than the relationship can sustain, cracks appear. Not from lack of care, from mismatch. Mismatch in availability, in priorities, in emotional capacity. This mismatch doesn't always lead to confrontation, Often it leads to quiet withdrawal, less communication, less effort, less presence. And from the outside, it looks like the friendship just faded. That fading is what people point to when they say, female friendship doesn't exist. But fading happens in all relationships. The difference is visibility. Female friendships are more emotionally visible, so their shifts are more noticeable. Now consider loyalty. Loyalty in male friendships is often activity-based. Shared experiences, shared environments, less emotional dependence. This creates stability through structure. Female friendships rely more on emotional synchronization, and synchronization is fluid. So stability depends on alignment staying intact. When it does, the friendship is strong. When it doesn't, the bond weakens. Not because of lack of loyalty, because of change. Another reflection. People often confuse endurance with authenticity. They believe that if a relationship lasts forever, it's real. But some real connections are temporary. They serve a phase, a version of life, a moment of identity. And when that phase ends, so does the connection. That doesn't invalidate what it was. It defines what it was. There's also the role of boundaries. As women grow, boundaries become clearer. What was once tolerated is no longer acceptable. What once felt normal now feels misaligned. So they pull back. Not out of hostility, out of self-preservation. This is often misunderstood as disloyalty, but it's actually development. Now here's the deeper layer. Female friendships don't disappear because women are incapable of loyalty. They shift because identity, emotion, and environment are constantly evolving. And these friendships are highly sensitive to those shifts. Sensitivity creates intensity, but it also creates fragility. That fragility is not weakness. It's responsiveness. Responsiveness to change. Another pause. Think about the friendships that lasted. Not because time forced them to, but because alignment kept renewing itself. Growth didn't separate them. It synchronized them. That's the difference. The strongest female friendships aren't static. They're adaptive. They evolve together. And when they don't, they separate. Quietly. Without needing a dramatic ending. So the question isn't whether female friendship exists. It's whether people understand the system it operates within. Because once you understand that it's built on emotional alignment, identity evolution, and relational sensitivity, the inconsistency stops looking like falseness and starts looking like movement. The final realization is simple. Female friendship doesn't fail because it's fake. It changes because the people inside it change. And expecting permanence in something designed to evolve is where the misunderstanding begins. See the pattern. Protect your energy. This is Depth Realm.